It's my first outing with the Intrepid 4x5 camera. I haven't shot 4x5 since the 90s, so it's trying to get my head around it all again. It's a very simple camera, but there's a lot more to think about in terms of exposure, composition, all that type of thing. I've come over to my local patch, which is only about 5-10 minutes from home. I've got this old tree, which you might have seen in a previous video of mine, an old lightning struck oak tree, which is kind of beautiful sort of shape. There's a lovely hoarfrost on the ground, so I'm just waiting for the light to pop up while I do all my prep and composition, get everything in focus. But yeah, I'm looking forward to using this. I've got 2 film holders with me, so basically 4 pictures. I've got 2 sheets of Ilford Delta 100, and I've got 2 sheets of Velvia 50. So I'm going to wait for the sun to come up a bit more, and I'm going to shoot the black and white first, see how I get on with that, and then try a bit of Velvia once the sun comes up a bit more then. So yeah, I'll talk through what I'm doing here. Hopefully these pictures will turn out, who knows. This is all, well, not a new experience, but definitely one that I've been looking forward to. So yeah, let's get set up. So in terms of composition, I've got my tree behind me here. You just see it's just starting to pick up some nice light now, which is good. I'm just waiting for the light to hit the foreground. Composition wise, I use an app on my phone, a viewfinder app, which gives you different combinations of lens types. It's got a meter inside it, but I don't tend to use that. In terms of metering, I've got I'm using my DSLR at the moment to meter with. Not ideal, but I'm not entirely convinced yet whether I need a handheld meter. I'd like to have one because it kind of makes it a bit easier to work things out. But for the time being, I'm using my DSLR. I use it in spot metering mode. Take a few sort of average readings of the scene, but I'll talk through this in a minute. So the sun's popping up quite fast, so I'm going to get set up. Okay, that's the focusing done. Slight bit of tilt on the front standard, just to keep the grass in the foreground nice and sharp, and the top of the tree. And I've refocused, so we should be okay. Fingers crossed. And then in terms of metering, I used to use the zone system when I shot black and white and colour film as well back in the day. Today I'm using my DSLR in spot metering mode. I've taken a reading off the sky, which is quite neutral colour, sort of an average tone. But I've also metered for the highlights as well, and some shadow areas, just to make sure. I'm going to stop down to about f32 on the 5.4 to get me the depth of field. So obviously my meter only goes down to f22, so I have to add a +1 stop exposure then. I'm on ISO 100, which is the same rate as the same as the film. So yeah, I might give it a little bit more. I normally find with black and white film you have to give it a little bit more of a push, just to get that sort of detail out of it, and especially in the shadow areas. I mean, luckily this morning there's not much shadow. It's all kind of side lit, so it looks pretty good. So yeah, I'm just going to set the exposure on the lens and see how we go. The one thing I've noticed on the Intrepid is once you've loaded your film at the film back, there's no magnets in the Mk4. I think, I'm not sure why, I think they had problems with the magnets in previous models, so I've modified this slightly by putting some zero lines on the film back. So the last thing you want is it to be skewed when you put the film in, so make sure I just line it up there so I know that it's in place then. So the film holder's in, ready to go. Just take my little notches off there so I can get the dark slide out. I'm going to shoot 2 frames, one at half a second at ISO 100 f32, and the second frame I'm going to do at 1 second. So hopefully these will turn out. Okay, so let's set the aperture f32. Set my shutter speed half a second for the first one. Just do a quick test. That's fine. So cock the shutter. Make sure that the shutter is closed. I've done this many times where I've left that open and exposed the film by accident. So another test just to make doubly sure. It's okay. Right, cock the shutter. Close that one up. Get my cable release out of the way. Right, so we're ready to go. I'm going to use my dark slide as a shield, just to shield the front of the lens. And away we go. That's it. Okay, let's try one at 1 second now. Okay, that's 2 pictures done. Let's see how they turn out. Well, I've moved position now, come down the field a bit further. I'm going to get a shot of this behind me here. I've got this that tractor tracks going up through to the tree in the background there. I'm going to break out the Velvia next. See how we get on with that. It's all side lit still, so it's a nice scene. The sky's pretty sort of neutral still at the moment because of the side lighting. But lovely sort of mist picking up now as well. But I'm shooting in a portrait format on this shot, so I'm going to get the run of this track going up through. Should make quite a nice composition. One thing I'm going to give my other half a shout out for, my dot cloth. She was busy sewing away on the sewing machine last night, finishing this off for me, so I could use this today. I mean, I've used it in the past, just used my jacket, I think, but this makes it a lot easier. She's sewn in some Velcro strips and also some elastic, thick elastic band around the top, so it kind of grips onto the camera. So it's quite a useful focusing aid. Get underneath it with my loop on the screen, I can see really clearly then. It's quite a bright screen on this camera. Years ago I used to use an MPP field camera, and it was quite difficult to see what I was doing even underneath a dark cloth or my jacket. But this is a lot brighter, so yeah, it's a lot better. I've used a bit of filtration for this shot, so I've got a polarizer on the front because it's nice and side lit. It brings out the greens in the grass. And I've also used a two-stop grad, like a soft grad over the sky, just to sort of bring it in a bit. I mean, there's no cloud detail in the sky, but just to stop it blowing out a bit. I'm shooting Velvia now. Velvia is very unforgiving with exposure, so I'm going to bracket. I've got 2 sheets basically, so I'm going to bracket the exposure. I'm going to do two exposures, different timings. So I'm going to meter. Take a meter off the grass and off the sky, and also one off this shadow detail in the foreground in front of me here, and I should come up with an average reading for it then. Again, I'm stopped down to f32. Got a bit of front tilt, so I can get all this grass in focus in the foreground. So yeah, let's try this. Well, I've really enjoyed that this morning, getting back to basics. Shooting 5.4, it's a completely different ball game. I've managed to shoot four pictures this morning. 2 sheets of Velvia 50 and 2 sheets of Ilford Delta 100. It really is a basic camera, but it kind of gets you right back into the the basics of photography, and composition is so important. You've got to make each shot count. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I've had a great time this morning. I'm going to carry on shooting digital as well as 5.4, but I'll shoot sort of alongside each other. So I'll do various videos on both formats. So yeah, please subscribe away and click the notification bell. That'll let you know when I post new videos. But for now, I'm going to pack up, go and get some breakfast. So join me on the next one. Thanks for watching.